What is up, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the video. Today is a massive moment for the market. If you're out there, you're hanging in there, I just want to encourage you. Everything's going to be good. I can't say for certain when it comes to crypto, okay? But the way that things are lining up, and I want to talk about that in this video, things are going to be good. Crypto is not going anywhere. We're officially ending, first off, years of quantitative tightening. And at the same exact time right now, which is kind of why I'm doing this video, a random live stream, we're getting headline after headline of altcoin ETF approvals that are just lining up. They're coming into play. And meanwhile, as you see, crypto is capitulating continually, almost every week. I joke with my wife. It's just like, all right, you know, next leg down. It's a new week. Let's go. To me, it looks a whole lot like the big players are positioning right as we transition into a brand new liquidity cycle. So I want to talk about that. I also want to look at some charts, Ethereum, ADA, XRP, Hbar chart was kind of interesting to me. So let's just jump into the video. If you're out there, you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and hit that like on the way in. Here's what we have going on. Let me kind of move my screen around because I need to move this over here. All right, so I have a million tabs open. I'll try my best to breeze through them, but I just want to hang out for a second. I want to talk. I've been doing like edited videos lately where, you know, I'm just putting a lot of work into formulating the data and presenting it to you. I just want to talk to y'all. I really do. I have so much on my mind when it comes to crypto right now, and I have some posts up that kind of help vent a little bit my take. But I saw this first off. We can start with this. Institutions loaded up while retail ran for the exits. U.S. equities flipped from 800 million outflows to 1.6 billion inflows. Hedge funds bought 2.1 billion, most since June 2023. I want to stop there just for a moment. I thought that was just very interesting, June 2023, because we're going to talk more about this, but if you go look at June 2023, this is total crypto market cap chart. This is all the way back here. And by the way, this is the total crypto market cap chart. I shouldn't say everybody, because I know there's so many of you watching. You're not part of that. You're not part of this group, but so many people, there's a lot of very loud noise. They're just saying it's game over for crypto. And this is what the crypto market cap chart looks like. I don't know how else to present data to you. I don't know why it's actually so unpopular just to at least be bullish on the crypto space right now. I really don't. It's actually not that bold of a thing to be bullish on crypto when the chart looks like this and we just had the most harsh quantitative tightening cycle come to an end today. It's really not that crazy. It's not that crazy of a thing to be bullish. I'm surprised it's so unpopular, but I'm kind of encouraged that it is so unpopular. It's actually kind of a good sign. But back to the post. June 2020. Retail sold $1.4 billion for the third straight week. Watch what they do, not what they say. And I'm just going to go through some headlines because I've been seeing tonight ETF stuff nonstop. Vanguard wants its clients to enter at the bottom of the Bitcoin cycle. As always, timing matters. And I just can't help but think that as we're capitulating, all these ETFs are coming on board. And I just posted about it on X. It just seems like that's what's going on. There's an absolute transfer of crypto happening right now. And just from my comments alone that I see, you can just see people they're just done. They're just done with crypto. They are absolutely capitulating. They're not happy. As always, timing matters. And he's basically reposting Eleanor from a few hours ago. Bloomberg was reporting that Vanguard Group will roll out crypto ETF access. I don't know how you can be bearish. People still don't get it. ETFs only launch when the demand is already there. Institutions are positioning before price. That's like the actual headline. Institutions are positioning before price. XRP supply shock is already brewing. When you go on X and look at ETF stuff, there's so much XRP stuff. XRP army is no joke. So besides Vanguard, I saw this from Franklin Templeton. We're making crypto easier peasier than ever before with a newly expanded token lineup in Franklin Crypto Index. Bitcoin, Cardano, Chainlink, Dogecoin, Ether, Solana, Stellar, XRPL. Starting tomorrow, Vanguard will allow ETFs and mutual funds tracking Bitcoin and select other cryptos to begin trading on their platform. They cite how the ETFs have been tested, performed as designed through multiple periods of volatility. How it started with Vanguard, how it's going. Look at this. Vanguard CEO says they will not offer spot Bitcoin ETFs because it does not belong in a long-term portfolio and is not a store of value. Just in, $11 trillion Vanguard to allow clients to buy crypto ETFs starting tomorrow. As I'm going through these headlines, everybody, by the way, like, just keep in mind what happened today. Quantitative tightening came to an end. And that is so notable. And I just want to explain to you. I have a video. It's done. It's ready to go. I might release it tomorrow. Because I've been talking a lot about quantitative tightening coming to an end. It's such a complicated topic. Liquidity, the flow of liquidity, what this even means. What does it mean for a bull market? Very simply, you can see quantitative tightening starting, right? Back here, that was the top of the bull market. Boom, liquidity being drained. Top of the last bull market in 2018. Boom, going into QT, liquidity being drained. It ended here. We go into the bull market. It's ending now. I'm not saying it's just that simple. Tomorrow we pump. So my video tomorrow, I think I'll release it tomorrow. It's going to break down the phases of liquidity rotation. But just to give you a sense, when you're looking at a quantitative tightening chart, and hopefully this is valuable to like even at least one person that's out there. There's 4 phases that I explain in the video that I will be releasing. And it's a quick video, but quantitative tightening ends. This is where we are right now. It's done. The drain stops. Pressure comes off. And we're talking about 3 years of pressure, everybody. The bear market that we just went through is 3 years of the harshest, most historic pressure that we've ever had for liquidity. That's phase 1. It stops. That's where we are. Phase 2 is, and this is kind of where we're entering now. And we just have to wait. We have to be patient. This is brand new territory for all of us. Over the next month or two, the system should stabilize in some manner and reserves will flatten. Reverse repo is going to wrap up. It's already pretty much fallen to zero, and treasuries will find their footing. This is like, and this is a very big part of the liquidity rotation and the story, even with treasuries. Everybody wants, hey, QT's done, right into the highest risk part of the, risk curve, crypto, let the liquidity flow right away. It just doesn't work like that. We have to go through these phases. And then there's phase 3, which is liquidity finally does start rotating. Credit spreads tighten, equities start to pick up, small caps start picking up. We might see the Russell 2000 start making some moves, and that's something that I'm watching for. Now, this isn't, again, going to happen tomorrow or next week. This could take a couple of months. And then we have phase 4. And that's where kind of crypto comes in. It's almost always lasts when it comes to this liquidity, but when it hits the hardest. And that's kind of what we're stepping into right now. So this is going to be a process. This is only the second time this has happened. Last time, if you look at the PMI chart, QT ended back here in September 2019. You can see PMI chart ticked down a little bit. It was a few months sideways and, a little bit of a down. There was not immediate expansion on the PMI chart. We started getting expansion, right? QT ends at this yellow line. We start getting expansion, and then COVID hit. What's going to happen now? A few months of sideways. We're going to tick down. Are we going to start ticking up a little bit? Is there going to be a black swan event like we had COVID? What's going to happen? What does expansion look like this cycle? Probably not going to look exactly like last cycle. That's one thing that I do know. But we're going to monitor this, and I'm going to continue creating content through this because this is a monumental story for us, everybody. If you're a macro investor, if you're not zoomed in, I know there's a lot of people disappointed with any gains that were delivered or not delivered this cycle, but we have to pivot with, as things happen, we have to pivot, right? The Fed drug its feet longer than anybody thought. And here we are. Look at the total crypto market cap chart with the PMI in green. That's the chart we were just looking at. It's just contracting. It's still consolidating. So let's wait for expansion. Let's see what it looks like. But there's 4 phases to that I want to talk about in tomorrow's video. But let's continue, and then we're going to get into some charts. This is a big one, the second largest asset manager ever, talking about Vanguard, and right after a massive correction heading into decent tailwinds. BlackRock also confirmed last week that their ETF was the most profitable product they have. Whether you like the institutions or not, they're going to defend their cash cow, and having it go too low is not a good look. Completely agree. I'm just glancing over at the comments. I appreciate you guys out there hanging out with me. I just was telling my wife, I just want to go live. I don't know if I should, but I want to go live. So if you're in the live stream, smash that like button. Your support means a lot as I continue to just try and create content. So this is the Vanguard. This is the Vanguard news, everybody. And by the way, I have to give a shout out to itrustcapital. I'm very excited. We kind of extended our collaboration, our partnership. They've just been an awesome partner over the years. They're one of the builders through thick and thin, but we've got this nice little page up, but they have a special offer. If you're a macro investor, go check them out. Click the link below, $100 funding bonus. You sign up through this link. It takes minutes. $100 funding bonus they're going to give you for signing up. But basically, get all the tax advantages of a crypto IRA, trade crypto 24/7, no monthly fees. And I found it pretty cool. They also, if you don't even want the IRA, they have a premium custody account. If you want just straight up the best of the best custody for your crypto, institutional grade, they have that too. So use the link below, just get set up. If you want like that no hassle crypto custody, they have an amazing product, institutional grade, award winning, and low cost, no monthly fees there as well. So shout out to iTrust for sponsoring today's live stream. So I wanted to look at this post, and we're going to slowly pivot to charts. I do want to actually, I'll answer this in this video. Hopefully I remember to. Dan, thoughts on ICP? We actually just added a risk model for ICP. I've been lagging in the announcement, but it's back there in our intelligence system, one of our newest models. Current valuation is lower than 97% of all historical values. Seeing a reading this low in a bull market could be a massive opportunity. This is just crazy. And if you look at this chart, global liquidity oscillator, just look at the oscillator with where it is. We're literally in, and where was this post? Somebody was reposting this and just explaining. I mean, we're in like these swing low territories. Like look at COVID right here in 2020 on this oscillator. That's where we are right now. So it puts current valuation into perspective. More with the ETF news. Bitwise Doge ETF, November 26th. It's already done. Grayscale Chainlink Trust, 12/2. That's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. XRP, ETF with the actual ticker XRP, just started trading. That was November 20th. Do you understand all of these ETFs? When is this from? This is from today. 21 shares XRP spot ETF has been approved and will launch today. New Sol ETF by Van Eck. That was November 17th. Check this clip out. Matt Hogan, Bitwise CIO. Check it.
Crypto ETFs evolving in 2026?
It's going to be ETF Palooza in crypto land. I think there'll be 100+ launches. We're going to see a lot of single asset crypto ETPs. What I'm most excited about, though, is the growth of index-based crypto ETPs. If you think of who is the next.
Think about these indexes, everybody. I don't know if you were on the live stream. I just covered it like a couple minutes ago, but Franklin Templeton digital assets. Look at this index. It's just a phenomenal index. We are at the beginning stages, everybody. 15 minutes into trading, and all 5 spot XRP ETFs net inflow total over 9 million. It's crazy. This was from earlier today. All right, we're going to start pivoting to charts. We haven't completed a traditional BTC bull market cycle with a climactic top because the US business cycle is still flat. This is the business cycle. It is still flat. It's been flat for years. And you can see anytime this expands, we go into a bull market. That's what's happening here. This is a business cycle chart. The post goes on. Liquidity arrives in 2026. So then what makes you think you're getting a traditional 12-month bear market with price nuking to 40,000? The answer is you're not. I mean, can't always speak in certainties. I do agree. The likelihood of something like that happening is very, very low, but this is a liquidity game right now, everybody. Here is that post that I was talking about. So that current valuation being lower than 97% of all historical values, and then we're going to get into the charts. This was the post, reposting it. There's something very strange happening right now. So many price gauging metrics are hitting all-time lows or bear market lows, while Bitcoin is only down 34% all-time high. This is another very key metric regarding global liquidity. All of this is happening as we are, for the first time after a traditional 4-year cycle period, heading into macro expansion and tailwinds. It really is an unprecedented time in Bitcoin's history. It cannot be looked through one dogmatic view. Something big brewing here. That's just the best way to put it. We are all in completely new territories. You have your thesis, whether it's bullish or bearish. I have mine. I've been trying my best in these videos to display to you why I think kind of being that contrarian bull right now is a good idea because of the liquidity story that's happening. But I digress from that. We got to just wait and play this thing out, see how it goes. But this chart goes into expansion mode. I think it's game on for this chart, which is the total crypto market cap. And with that being said, I have just, don't mind me, everybody. It really, the PMI, a representation of really economic growth and health in this green line. And the way that crypto moves with it is ridiculous. I need to do a video, and I'll probably title it something like, I made a massive mistake, because I feel like I did. The one thing, I've been pretty happy with the content that I've created since 2018 bear market started. I've been doing videos almost every day, everybody, tracking this. This dip that we're in right now, if you see me online, like, how is Dan so optimistic? Like, how does he think this is, why is he bullish? I mean, just look at everything. I've been doing videos. It's not like I've been passively looking at charts over the years. I've been doing videos every day, tracking like all of these moves. I've been through so many capitulations with you guys over the years. I've been through things like this so many times. But I'll tell you one thing. I've not been in this environment where we've had the harshest QT come to an end and liquidity is about to turn bullish for crypto and risk on assets. That's happened once before in September 2019. And what I want to say is my biggest mistake is when I was covering content back here, right? Or even the top of the last bull market back here, and we're getting signs that QT is about to end. This was not on my radar. And it is what it is. I mean, I wasn't so dug into the macroeconomic landscape of things. I was not so dug into Fed monetary policy, how these things and liquidity impacts crypto. I feel like it's the biggest mistake of my crypto analytics career is not locking into that stuff. But I'll tell you one thing. One thing I learned as an entrepreneur is you're never going to get it all right from the get-go. You learn as you go, and that's just the bottom line. And when you learn these new things, you implement them with no delay. And so if you've seen me in a rush to deliver data about this, it's why. It's because I'm like, this is very important, and it's a very big part of my content now is tracking the macroeconomic landscape of everything. So I'll have to do a video on that though. I'll have to find a nice little clickbait. I was wrong about everything type of title. So let's go look at some charts. Here's PMI on TradingView. It's not updated. It's a 48.7. We want bull market territory, by the way, everybody. We want to see it above 50. That's where we want to be. We've just ticked down. Here's an updated view for 48.2. We just ticked down. And just for context, though, when QT ended last cycle, you can see it ended right here in September. And then, boom, we ticked down before starting to expand, and then COVID hit. So it's kind of like if we tick down a little bit, 48.2, could it tick down again, right? We get new January when we have a new month, and then I don't know how this will play out. I don't even want to guess the short-term analysis of that. But we can start on total crypto market cap chart. Here's where we are, currently still in a higher low territory. Obviously, we've broken key moving averages. You can just see here, like, that's not pretty. There's the 20-week, there's a 50-week. I have a lot of trouble now just focusing on moving averages or momentum indicators alone. For now, for me, I'm kind of like, well, yeah, we are getting kind of a structured breakout to the downside. Not the best thing, right, for the short to midterm, obviously. But when I start thinking, you know what, this move though, if you're really taking into context liquidity cycles and monetary policy and business cycles, this move, it's if anything, most similar to here, right? We want to sit here and be like, no, it's the top of a bull market, right? It just is. 4-year cycle and all that. But it's not. It's just not. If it's similar to anything, it is back here when QT ended in September 2019. And you can see for a couple months, crypto dipped, right? This chart went tapped just above the 200-week moving average. We have to have that in play right now for the weeks ahead. It just is what it is. And what's unfortunate is I will still be just bull posting. I'm a macro bull. This isn't shaking me out. I don't think we're falling into a bear market, just because I see what's happening from the macro lens in terms of liquidity and QT ending. And so I'll probably just still be bullish, and everybody's going to really not be happy with me at that moment, but it just is what it is. Because how could you not be bullish if right here it looked terrible, right? Man, that was a lame bull market right here, right? And then boom, QT comes to an end and we're still falling and we're about to hit the 200-week moving average, crypto market cap. This is like an early bear market. What's going on? It would be unpopular to post bullish right here. And I could probably go look at comments on my videos back then in December 2019. But guess what? The best opportunity. And even before we started falling, when QT ended, the best opportunity, everybody. It took a while, especially because COVID was thrown into the mix, but the best opportunity. And so for me, I'm kind of like looking at this through that lens. Well, okay, maybe we do dip, maybe we don't. But either way, in terms of the liquidity cycle and what is going on right now, I can't help but be bullish on this chart. Even if we fell to the 200-week moving average, it's like we're already seeing just insane metrics and data that is suggesting like we're hitting like bear market territories right now, even with fear indexes and stuff. And like, this is what the chart looks like. It's still actually in a higher low. We've not even broken that structure. $2.3 trillion is the low that we had in March, April 2025. So it's just crazy to me to just see that. So I wanted to start there on the total crypto market cap chart, and appreciate we got like 2,400 people in here right now. It's pretty cool. Nothing is really happening in the space tonight. There's not any crazy type of price action. But if you're in there, please hit that subscribe and like, and let's continue to get into some coins. This is a good question. I mean, I'm going to answer it because I'm just hanging out in this live stream. Can we be sure that it's actually following business cycles? So I did a video actually a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago on, let me go to the Russell 2000. Russell 2000 has even more data than crypto, but I did a whole video on it. When you bring up the business cycles, does that not look correlated to you? Does that not look correlated to you? And so this is a chart. When you start digging into the data and the mechanics of it all, when you start getting into the plumbing of liquidity, which I've been trying to do in my videos, man, it is so correlated. It's not like, it's almost not even a question for me. So that's the Russell 2000. I did a video. If you really want to, it's like, it's probably 10 minutes long. Go watch that one. And I really explain all of that. But go to something like ADA. Just look at the ADA chart. Does that not look insanely correlated to you in terms of the price action of Cardano? And the PMI is one illustration of it, right? This is different. This is a different chart than the quantitative tightening chart and the Fed balance sheet and everything. But we have so many of these different levers that are going on in the story of liquidity. And it's just become so obvious to me that this is a liquidity thing. So I think in answering that question again, how can we be sure it's tied to business cycles? Man, I at this point, you probably can't convince me otherwise. I will be so curious to see. We can monitor Cardano, Ethereum, whatever, HBAR. Let me bring up HBAR. Look at HBAR. Even, and what's really cool, and XRP did this too, when we got this expansion of the business cycle, it's like all of crypto pumped. And I think probably especially because we had the November elections also in the narrative. But look at that business cycle, the PMI chart, right? Making its move above 50, and crypto absolutely pumped. Now, some cryptos pump more than others. But then look what happens. Boom. Months, a year of contraction on the PMI chart. And what happened? I mean, altcoins have been in a bear market since that top. We've been in a bear market. That's what's happened. Now, with quantitative tightening coming to an end, nobody knows how the PMI chart will operate now. But if it starts expanding, and this is where maybe if this PMI chart just starts expanding and crypto's not moving, then maybe I'll second guess and be like, well, let's look at that. Why, like, what's going on? Is there no correlation? Because that doesn't make sense, right? Because if we look at all of these charts, it's been correlated. It's been heavily correlated. So that's the best way that I could answer that question. We've got somebody in the chat. So happy you're live. I was missing you live, but still love the new videos. And thanks for the dog info on X. Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been really, it's taking me like hours to do these videos that I'm doing, but they've been fun because I feel like they're providing everybody way more value than just looking at charts and speculating on the next move. I'm going to still do TA. It's just going to be way different because I can't unsee these charts. I can't unsee what's happening with liquidity. I just can't. I will. I'll look at a dog chart in this video, but let's go back. Bitcoin dominance hovering just at the 20-week moving average, 59.5%. The 20-week moving average, I should say. The 50-week moving average right around 61%. I'm still watching this move. It's like, it's grueling, man. Just watching what Bitcoin dominance is going to do on this chart. We're waiting for the pull into these moving averages, and it has been slight resistance. Now it's popping above the 20. Is it going to make a move to just over 61 at the 50-week moving average? It's very interesting right now because quantitative tightening, literally, I can say it ended today. Last time it happened was back here in September. Bitcoin dominance topped out, right? So it's just going to be an interesting thing. I mean, there's only one other time QT ended and other things were going on, you know, reverse repo stress. And I think that's way more contained this cycle. So we can't really even compare it to this, but I would be very interested to see what Bitcoin dominance does really in the weeks ahead. Don't forget about the shutdown and everything that happened with the shutdown and, you know, the TGA, Treasury General Account, the checking account of the Fed, because that's another dynamic to shorter term liquidity. That starts coming down, we might have a shorter term liquidity injection that could move markets. And if that happens, I'm just so curious to see what Bitcoin dominance does. Because when we get these liquidity events, when we get expansion on the PMI, when we get QT ending, it does seem like that's when Bitcoin dominance does want to kind of underperform against altcoins. And speaking of that, I find it interesting. If you go look at, here's Bitcoin, okay? And I was just noticing this actually on a dog chart I sent to my neighbor earlier. So Bitcoin's at like, you know, $86,000 territory. You look at back here. Remember this? Just insane. We dipped briefly below 70,000 to hit 77,000 or so. 75,000 wick. But look at we're in the general range, right? Tariff fear then, Bitcoin's like at the same price. And then I'm not going to use dog, but I'll use Ethereum, which is way more even pronounced. Here's the tariff fear. There's the capitulation. Ethereum doing better, right? This is, I think this is an early indicator of altcoins preparing to outperform Bitcoin. I really just do. I think that our risk models and our intelligence system have been kind of saying the same thing for a while. As you know, if you go back to the Bitcoin dominance chart, I did that video in May, altcoins less risky, because from a risk factor, maybe not so much a price factor, they're different things. Altcoins were looking less risky. And so I'm just very curious to see if the story plays out that way or not. And it's just only going to take time, especially now that QT is over and we wait for the liquidity rotation to really kind of come into effect. But that's Ethereum, which is crazy. It's right now 2,700. In the Terra Fear is 1,400. Like, we're in a higher low on Ethereum, for instance. And I know not every altcoin looks as strong, but Ethereum is a great altcoin indicator in terms of just altcoin strength and the story of altcoins for the cycle. And so a higher low right now for Ethereum is looking very good. And I will just say, even looking at the Ethereum chart, it's kind of like, I know we haven't gotten a parabolic bull market breaking all-time highs like other previous cycles, but what didn't happen? That business cycle expansion. But like, it is what it is. We can't cry about it. I was back here doing live streams with everybody else thinking we're about to go into altcoin season last November. Like, what are we going to still cry about it that it didn't happen? We can't. We have to pivot with all the new information and data that we get. And in fact, I was in a video I'm going to be releasing, I talk about how quantitative tightening ending today was it took too long. I mean, the Fed has just waited way too long, but it was anticipated that it was actually going to be even longer, like early 2026. So it actually ended earlier than many analysts were even thinking, which I think is a very big deal. Somebody said you're always too bullish. I just want to speak to that. It feels so good to do a live stream where I can just talk instead of just like read the comment and figure out how I can reply. I can talk. I can just be here and be like, it's not possible to be too bullish. Not for me. Listen, my risk balance is something I'm comfortable with. I can't be too bullish. The risk for me is being too bearish. The risk for me, as I've studied the data and as I presented it to you, and I would say pretty fairly, I don't overhype anything. I'm bullish, yes, but I'm bringing tons of data. I pour hours into these videos I'm presenting to you. The risk for me is being underexposed to these markets at this moment. Why am I too bullish? Because Ethereum is falling into a higher low environment right now. QT just ended. We're getting ready to, all indicators point to an expansion of the business cycle and a liquidity rotation. How can I possibly be too bullish if my risk appetite is comfortable right now? It's not possible. There's probably possibilities where somebody could be too bullish, maybe if they're overextended and they're over leveraged and they're too bullish because there's not enough caution, but it's just not possible for me right now. I'm not too bullish. And I just want to say that. If you're bearish, you haven't been here long enough. Dude, that's a good comment because, and the Crypto Cyan has been here, I recognize that name, a very long time. It's a good comment because it's all the OGs. They're the ones that are bullish right now. I was just in a space earlier today. It felt so good. There was like just over 100 people in there, but it was just OGs. Just if I felt okay, it was like my safe space to be bullish and just talk bullish without being ridiculed and called names. But it's the OGs that are bullish. It's the people that have lived through these cycles that are bullish. It's also the people, maybe it's their first cycle, but they came into this cycle maybe in the bear market accumulating. Maybe they were waiting for an awesome just 10, 20, 100x and it didn't happen, but they're the people that are just like, you know what? That's okay. Like nothing is guaranteed in life. That's life. Data changes, things change, cycles change. The 4-year cycle theory is completely gone. And I'll take it a step further. I don't know how the year will close. If Bitcoin closes let me open up the yearly. If Bitcoin closes a red yearly candle, then it'll be very easy just to say the 4-year cycle. Right now, it's been tough to argue. The 4-year cycle's over. I've been doing it because I think it is. I don't think the 4-year cycle was ever the thing. I think it was liquidity cycles. But if this ends red, then it's definitely over because that means this cycle was like a 3-year cycle, right? So we'll monitor though. We still have a month left of the chart, of the Bitcoin chart. Dude, this is such good content. Dude, I love some of these comments. Man, I just love it. I like it because it's very nice to get reminded that a lot of like the silent majority, a lot of you guys are just out there and you think the same as I do. Like, it's not just me. I don't feel as crazy, but just over a year ago, I was happy when XRP was 60 cents. Now it's crashing and above $2. Now, shout out to XRP holders because that is the case, right? Like, it was not long ago. It was just 51 cents exploding through 60, and it's held up so strong. You go to a lot of other coins, ADA is one of them. It's like, man, we're falling right back to the territory that we were at back here. ADA is not the only one, right? It's not. But there's some altcoins that have performed better. XRP is one of them. But one thing that I find so intriguing about ADA is, because I've talked about the correlation with this green line, the business cycle, is just how on point the ADA chart is with this thing. Because pretty much any altcoin chart you go to, it's pretty in flow with that green line, the PMI. But like, ADA is like the most in line with that chart. Look at that. Like, March 2024, PMI starts falling. ADA starts falling. There's the reversal of PMI expansion. ADA takes off. Here's all the consolidation for the last year. ADA just consolidating. And ADA is more volatile than others. It just is what it is. When it makes its move, it does very well to the upside as well. That's how it's been. That's how it was back here. And what's been awesome is seeing the fairness and adoption that finally Cardano has started getting. Not just from a social sentiment perspective, but just even seeing this, Franklin Templeton, including it. There it is, Cardano in their new Franklin Crypto Index ETF. It's just awesome seeing that, right? So there's going to be so many winners in the crypto space. ADA is going to be one of them, in my opinion. XRP is going to be one of them, in my opinion. What I meant to do with a lot of these charts is, sorry about that, I wanted to look at quantitative tightening ending on these charts and just kind of dissect what happened. And this is what we're looking at. Here's XRP. September, I did this last video. That's September 2020. But go to XRP in September 2019. There it is, falling, right? And that was not the best time for, hold on, let me move my screen so you can see that was not the best time for XRP, obviously that part of the cycle, but falling before COVID hit, and then boom, bull market. Let me look at Ethereum really quickly. Here is quantitative tightening, just to give you I'm not saying it's going to repeat like this, but it's very good context. QT ended, we fell. And you can even see the PMI line right there falling a little bit in green. Well, Ethereum fell. PMI starts expanding. Guess what? Ethereum starts expanding, and then COVID hit, and then bull market. So that chart's crazy. We kind of just looked at ADA, but let's actually look at QT ending last cycle for ADA as well. I think it's interesting. Look at that. Look at the green line over ADA. That's a PMI over ADA. I know you guys are probably so sick of me talking about it, but boom, contraction, QT ends, and then we bounce in December. So what is that? Like 3 months from QT ending, we started bouncing. Will it be 3 months this time? Is ADA going to fall even more? I have no idea. I'm monitoring it. What is interesting is at this part of the story that is QT ending, this cycle, we're actually testing a pretty important trend line on ADA. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. We are literally like right there, mid 30s, which is crazy. I mean, you go to something like XRP, completely different structure, but even XRP at this stage, like if it's going to trend down like it did last quantitative tightening end in 2019, and it keeps trending down, then we're going to break all of the support that it's currently kind of still holding. It's a really nice channel that XRP is in. The way that the cycle has been playing out, it's almost like whenever we see a move we don't want to happen structurally, it happens. It just is what it is. Like, but I think so much has to do with this, because as it's happening, this is the data that we're seeing. Institutions loaded up while retail ran for the exits. This is what keeps happening in these legs down. Institutions are coming on board, everybody. And that's what I'm trying to illustrate in this video, because maybe the dip does continue. I don't know. Hbar was another one kind of similar to XRP. I just thought it was cool. I was looking at the Hbar chart, how back here, it's like just in a range, right? That's the bear market low back here in 2022. We've been in a PMI contraction state for years, since really 2021. And it's cool to see HBAR like so volatile. And this is really for crypto, so volatile, but HBAR just like, this is how it's traded in this environment of contraction. That's crazy to me, because that means, like, as institutions prepare, they get positioned while retail selling to them. If HBAR did this well in just ridiculously record-breaking contraction mode, if this gets expansion, if we get nice liquidity, and maybe it's 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, what's this HBAR chart going to do? Like, what is crypto going to do? You know what I'm saying? That's what blows my mind right now, is kind of wondering that. Pal's meeting tonight is pure rage bait. Yeah, I didn't even think about like covering the Pal. I don't think he's not going to talk about monetary policy at all. So it's it's a waste of time. I could be wrong, but it's a waste of time. So I wanted to look at some of our risk models. By the way, if you're not in our intelligence system, everybody, I can't believe it, but as I do this live stream, we are literally approaching, we're approaching bear market risk scores. It's just crazy to me. We're in accumulation areas. Probably so many of our members that have exit alerts set, maybe for ADA, 75, 80, 60, whatever. Man, we're a ways away from any risk alerts going off. So if you're not in our intelligence system, if you want to try it out, we have a free trial going on right now, just so you can try it out. Like, I'm not trying to just sit here and show my product, go sign up for my company. Like, I've taken years to develop this system, and I want to offer it for free so you can just try it out first before it renews into a paid plan. Try it out. If you don't like it, just cancel. But right now, our risk models are entering like accumulation areas. And I thought it would be interesting if you look at ADA in September 2019, 22. And then look at what it did. 15 in September 2019. So QT ending last cycle. What was our risk score doing for Cardano? 15. Who's accumulating that in that fear, in that high fear environment? Who's really doing that? Well, this is why I have this system built. This is exactly why, because I need that unemotional data and visualization of it in a very simple way that's pulling in like ridiculous amounts of data. Our advanced risk algorithm, emerging asset theory, game theory, price, volatility, everything going on, so it can just give me the data so that I'm not making emotional decisions. This is one reason, and I'll segue to dog just because I'm going to look at ICP because we just added it. I'll have to do a whole video on ICP, but like, this is exactly why my dog buys. Let me just show you. And don't do what I do. I don't know if you saw on X, I posted this like a little bit ago. These are my dog buys. And I know it's like, I posted in the post, like it looks like a meme, one of those memes where you just buy to zero. But like, it just is what it is. This is my high risk play that I've just committed to accumulating for the cycle, especially if we get this liquidity shift, if we get just a very nice bull move for crypto, when finally the Fed is done draining, we get a bull move. I just think this chart is going to be ridiculous. And I've just been DCAing into dog. So I'm bringing it up because our dog risk model is at a 10. It's at a 10, which is interesting because you go back to the risk score that it fell to, and it's very new risk model, but it was an 8 in the Terra Fear. So that's kind of an interesting data point. Axel built the ICP risk model the other day. I think we have like around 40 assets back here. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in terms of risk models in the crypto space, it's a lot. But here's a risk model for ICP. I don't know if there's any ICP holders out there, and this is actually the first time I actually am really looking at this thing. I haven't really studied it much. But you can just see also kind of going back to 2021, entering the bear market territory. We don't really have bull market data, But the risk score, especially when we're pulling things like emerging asset theory, like statistical modeling pulled from just market cycles in general, it helps bring about the heat map and the risk scores that you see. But right now you can see internet computer sitting at a 32, and it looks like we had a little 294. I don't know. Like, did ICP like recently pump like crazy? Are there any ICP holders out there? I kind of want to know now. I don't follow ICP. We added it because it was one of our most, it was like one of our most voted on. Not the most, but wow. So ICP just went crazy for a moment. So that's interesting. It's kind of cool to see how our risk model, this is like a kind of a thing that we've seen in Ethereum in a different way. But often when there's a lack of liquidity, I want to dig more into this. You see like these swing highs that these risk scores get to. So here's the December 2024 swing high, 50s. This swing high was 50. It's like, it would be very interesting. Let me try and move this over, actually. I don't think you can even see. You can't even see. What would be very interesting is to see how next time we're getting into the 50s on some, like this is just a random example, something like 50s on the ICP risk model here. Through all this contraction that we've been in, that's been an area of, okay, you know, probably going to consolidate now, probably going to hit resistance now. Even back here, 65, boom, resistance, 50, some resistance, 50, resistance. Will be interesting what these risk models do in that 50 range, especially the new ones actually, when and if this is actually starting to expand above 50. If this PMI chart is expanding above 50, which essentially my point is, when this expands above 50, right? Here's 2016, bull market for crypto. Here's 2012, bull market. Here's last cycle, bull market. When this expands above 50, these risk models, it's going to be so interesting to see how quick they go from 50 through 50 and to the 60s, 70s, and above. But this is what the current ICP risk model looks like. So price was higher at this risk score 56% of the time after 3 months, 86% of the time after 1 year. And so from that moment, what you can do is, if you're back there with our members, you can set your alerts, set up SMS text. You can add the levels that you want to just, you know, alert me when I get to a 50, when it gets to a 50, when it gets to a 60 again, a 70, actually, yeah, again, an 80. And you can go into our exit planner. It should be in our exit planner as well, just from a price perspective, where you can basically start planning your speculative price exits, but then you can integrate risk mode and exit areas in terms of risk. So that's what the ICP looks like. I don't know what went on with that pump. I'm not so in tune with ICP. It pumped on October 31st to November 8th. Was there a reason though? Like, did something happen with ICP when that pumped? Silver's been moving like crazy. I wouldn't be surprised crypto moves next along with it. I agree. I haven't studied silver charts in relation to cycles. I want to, and I'll probably do a video on silver. I'm kind of curious. But what I have done, I think I've even done videos on it, is, let me change this to a weekly chart. This is gold. Crazy, because gold right now is making a little bit of move, testing like that previous all-time high that we had. What I've been waiting for is, and this is probably also where we need to kind of like, you know, take it one step at a time. But let me get rid of this PMI chart. Last cycle, right? August 2020, shortly before the bull market started for crypto, gold topped out. That's one thing that's interesting. And I guess the PMI chart there is helpful, because you can just see, boom, there is September 2020, November 2020, March 2021. So you can see PMI there expanding. So it's going to be very telling to see what happens now that QT is ending. If we start getting some expansion on the PMI chart, because there's a PMI chart just completely sideways. If it starts expanding, it'll be interesting to see if gold starts contracting, falling. And I guess one explanation, there's a lot of explanations, but like one, if you think about it, is like, especially with rates, if they start coming down, we've already talked about how much money there is in money markets. Like that money that's parked for yields, it's slowly just going to rotate down the risk curve. And that's why, you know, we'll see gold probably, in my view, eventually top out, consolidate, fall. And we're going to just start seeing more risk on moves, capital coming into the risk on space like crypto. So that's gold. I haven't studied silver a lot, so I don't want to really speak to it, but obviously silver going crazy. What was gold doing actually? So silver topped out too in September 2020, August 2020, boom, right in here. Bitcoin breaking that bull market door area, crypto about to enter the bull market, and then we know what happened next. So even silver topping out is a very similar story to the gold topping out as it relates to crypto. What else? Gold spiked. I know, I was just looking at the wick on it's a weekly, but like, was this a recent move of, that's a weekly. Let's even go to the 4 hour. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Changes to the daily. Man, this is going to be one way or the other, which way it's going to break. I just saw a question. I can't find it now. I'm sorry. I don't mean to just like stare at the screen. Keep stacking. If you're bullish, press 1. Shiba King reposted this stream. Thanks for the repost, Shiba King. Appreciate you. That's a good video, USDT dominance. I don't have any charts open right now to talk about it. Hey, just got here, saw at the beginning. I trust sponsored, love them, and have my 401k with them. Have for a few years now. They're awesome, man. And honestly, as a content creator, I know like a lot of people out there are just like, oh, sponsor, you scammer. Like, dude, relax. It's, you know, I'm so appreciative of our sponsors. They're awesome. And I very much enjoy just partnering with just these OGs that are building constantly, that are offering really cool products to people, to us crypto holders in the space, because it's encouraging, like when we're in moments like this, just to see like stable teams that I'm, you know, because I meet their biz dev people, and like, it's just cool to work with these people that are just bullish in the space they're building. And for me as a content creator, it's very encouraging. We've got a ton of ones. That's crazy. Been a while, bro. I have been following you since you were at Bitcoin Ben's meetup in Jersey. What's up? Yankees Cowbell Chuck. What's up, Chuck? I appreciate you. Man, it's crazy. I remember. It's been a crazy crypto journey. It really has been. I love seeing all the ones that are out there, all the bulls. I meant to bring this up as we were talking about liquidity. If you haven't read Ray Dalio on X. Go on X and just look it up. Stimulating into a bubble. I did a video on it. It condenses it, maybe easier to digest, but like he breaks down so good how, or not how, but what is about to happen. The title says it all. Stimulating into a bubble. And actually, I want to say this because I get, a lot of comments, I'm too bullish and I'm a permabull and you're always bullish. But I do want to just let you know, like, let's imagine a world where my thesis played out and we really do get liquidity expansion, PMI expansion, crypto does follow it. We're moving, people are happy. And maybe it's not like crazy parabolic gains. Like maybe the money printers aren't as heavy. I don't know, but it's good. There will be a moment of time where during that move, have to see what the risk models are doing. Here's Bitcoin at a 33, still a ways to go, a ways away. Cardano's at a 15 risk. It's crazy. But we start getting, especially this cycle, because I have this system, we start getting into these higher risk scores, right? XRP starts going crazy. We're hitting third cycle higher high that I have here on this chart, $8. I will be doing videos that I've never done, which are to start being careful, to start taking profit. I'm not going to tell people when to take profit, but I'm absolutely going to mention when I am. Not exactly like the hour. Hey guys, I'm logging on now, I'm selling. But I will be letting you all know it's time to de-risk. Because if you read this post, I'm like going on a tangent, stimulating into a bubble, there's going to be a massive crash. So people will probably say, oh, Dan, why are you so bearish as we're going parabolic? But there's going to be a massive crash. This time is different because the Fed will be easing into a bubble. While I would expect the mechanics to work as I described, the conditions in which this QE would take place are very different from those that existed when they took place before, because this time the easing will be into a bubble rather than into a bust. So, and that's just the point. Previously, quantitative easing was a stimulus into a depression. Many of you can relate to it most by just going back and thinking of COVID, right? The stimulus, the printing that came out of that. It's like, dude, we needed that. We're going into a depression. Like we're going into, man, what's going to happen here? And this is what took place. So now we're getting the flip side of that, which is, and he lays it out very nicely. We're not going to have stimulus into a depression. We're getting stimulus into a bubble. Asset valuations are at highs and rising. S&P 500 earnings yield is 4.4%, while the 10-year Treasury bond nominal yield is 4%. The economy is relatively strong. Real growth has averaged 2% over last year. Unemployment rate is only 4.3%. These are the things we're going to be easing into, and we are. Inflation is above target at a relatively moderate rate, a bit over 3%. I think it might have come down since this post. This post was, I think, around a month ago. Credit and liquidity is abundant, and credit spreads are near record lows. So QE today is stimulus into a bubble. So be very careful when that happens, everybody, because people are calling things overvalued now, and they have no idea what's coming. They really have no idea what's coming. We're going to see what overvalued is. And all I will say is just start thinking about that right now. There's no guarantees it happens, but if the thesis plays out, if crypto does start going higher eventually, maybe we capitulate all the way down to 2 trillion market cap. I don't know how it will play out, but we get the expansion, we get a continued move, things are going well. Like, just start thinking about it. How are you going to take profits? Really. Didn't spend a lot of time on Cardano, but check out Cardano. It looks like it's megaphone pattern. Don't know if it's bullish or bearish divergence. Check out the MACD. I'm guessing you're on a weekly. I'm on a weekly here. I got the megaphone. I see it. It's very similar to last cycle. COVID, we fell below it. Interestingly enough, it's like, oh man, are we going to get like are we going to get the move? I should say, notice how it wasn't game over for Cardano. It's not like, oh, the megaphone target was like 0. We didn't hit 0. We almost did. But yeah, let me look at the MACD. You said MACD. MACD. Oh man, it does this. I'm not going to sit here and, oh, maybe it's not that bad. This chart, man. I honestly don't know. I've been using this for so long, I don't even know. So, I mean, MACD, the momentum looks absolutely terrible, but with so many of these indicators, it's like these terrible moments are towards the end, right? I don't know why. I'm just kind of curious. There's March 2020, nothing. Look at that. Look at the MACD. I thought March 2020, I guess you can't see it. I really thought the MACD in March 2020 was going to look way worse than this. This was COVID MACD. It's crazy. Look at this one. It's horrendous looking. Do you think everything will go up before crash? Yeah, I do. And that's the general essence of Ray Dalio's post here, stimulating into a bubble. They're going to stimulate into a bubble. And with how, I mean, I really think cryptos are undervalued right now. Like, we're getting into like oversold territories. We're getting into bear market territories on certain indicators. And it's kind of like, all right, quantitative tightening is over. They're stopping the drain. We're going to get a rotation of liquidity. I think it's going to flow into risk assets like crypto. I think institutions are positioning. They might want even cheaper prices. And there could be volatility to the downside, right? Even in the shorter term. It happened after QT last cycle. We could get more downside. But we start expanding. They start, printing into a bubble. I'm just saying, if it starts happening, right, we're getting bullish, be careful up there. Because the crash is going to be ridiculous, in my opinion. I really think it will be. But yes, I think we'll crash, but I think we'll go up first. I just do. Thanks, David. You're probably so right. I don't even know. 8 years doing these videos. I agree. The 4-year cycle now looking like it been just liquidity cycles and XRP has had someone's foot on its neck. Now with QE and 50-50 chance of up or down. Yeah. I mean, all of crypto. Just look at the total crypto market cap chart. It looks like that. Somebody's foot has been on its neck. Actually, I shouldn't even say that. I'm consistently so surprised of two things here. During all this contraction, the higher highs and higher lows, and also with just this move, I'm so surprised why it's, I'm not surprised because I feel it too. Like, I'm not a happy camper when we keep falling. I'm not. So I do get it. But look at this though. I mean, it could be so much worse right now. But right now, this chart, that's a little extreme, but around 30%. Back here, swing high to swing low, below the moving averages, 38%. So we haven't even hit that 38% mark that was a tariff dip. Here's this swing high to swing low, 38%. Look at this, 38%. And I'm so sure this was like the beginning of the bear market to so many people. This was probably the beginning of the bear market to so many people. This right now is absolutely the beginning of a bear market to so many people. What's crazy is this is actually the moment QT ends. We still had a lot of QT to go through in these moments, which is really interesting to me. But even this one, this was probably not as harsh, but still 22% dip. Look at that. There's a dip right here trying to exit the bear market. Man, we've been through so much. And here we are again. That's crazy. But yeah, it's just like liquidity has a lot to do with all of this. Appreciate the value you bring in. Dog Army, salute. Appreciate you. I actually wanted to bring up a dog chart. I always say I want to and I forget. I like, where'd that post go? I had the post up somewhere. I'm not going to be able to find it. Let's see. Here are my dog buys. This is a huge play of mine. Like, this is my high risk play that I'm just like, I feel the need to, I could totally just be like, you ever see that Homer Simpson meme where he's like going back into the bushes? Like, I don't have to talk about this. I don't have to tell people I'm doing this. I just feel the need to, because it is a huge play of mine. I put, it's either going to be the best or the worst play of my crypto career. But like, I feel the need to put it out there. This is, I've been accumulating dog like crazy. And that's just what I'm doing. And let's go to the dog chart. Let's check it out. One thing I thought was interesting. So this is what I sent my neighbor. Where's the dog chart? It's okay. People think I'm crazy. If we get the liquidity, I'm telling you, everybody, from this valuation, dog is just going to be it's just going to be an unbelievable performer. Such a good performer. The fundamentals that are here in this token is ridiculous. It's the number one coin on Bitcoin network besides BTC itself. That's number one. But it's also the free decentralized aspect of it and the meme coin aspect of it. Meme coins, believe it or not, everybody wants to act like meme coins are just, they're no longer. I'm telling you, when liquidity comes back into play, everybody, just watch meme coins. Just watch. And don't do what I do. Don't go buy dog. And dog is decentralized. They don't pay influencers. It's such a fundamental thing about this coin. But anyway, the thing I noticed about dog was, if you look at this, there's the April swing low, the tariff capitulation, right? Dog absolutely fell from crazy, about to break $1 billion. But look at the price. We're at the same price as the tariff swing low. And I just thought it was interesting to look at that. And then if you go look at, again, Bitcoin from the tariff swing low, almost also at the same price. So since April, this crazy meme coin with a pretty low market cap right now that everybody just, thinks will do nothing is performing almost identical to Bitcoin since April, since everything we've been through in all of that quantitative tightening that has been happening. Because keep that in mind as we're working through all these charts. Like, if you go look at the Fed balance sheet, guess what? Here's, April right here. QT. Look at that drain. Look at that. During that, and this is what gets me bullish on something like dog. If the liquidity flows back in, dog held up almost the same as Bitcoin in terms of value. Since all of that, through all of that, we get QT ending today and liquidity come back. Dog is going to be such an overperformer. And what is crazy, I even noticed, if you compare it to something like Cardano, dog has outperformed Cardano since, where's April? Here's April. There's Cardano. I'm not trying to talk trash on Cardano. It's my number one altcoin that I hold, but it is what it is. So I'm just excited, man. Again, I know it looks crazy, all those buys. I'm just keep buying, but I'm balancing my risk the best that I can. So I'm mostly comfortable with it. It's not like, I remortgaged the home to go all in on dog. So keep up the positive attitude. It helps keep people strong. I appreciate it. Christ is king. Christ is king. Amen. Dog, another dog holder. We got some dog holders in the house. All right. I think it was a pretty good live stream. I just wanted to come on and vent. We got over 6,000 people right now. That's pretty cool. We got 282 likes. Come on. What's up with that ratio? I know price action is terrible, but it's not my fault. Smash the like, everybody, if you get any value from these videos. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. We're growing this thing even in these times. And really, I'm putting out way different content now. I hope you enjoy it, but subscribe, turn notifications on. We're going to keep tracking these markets, tracking the data. Thanks for the super chat. Please give an analysis on BC backer charts on possible retrace, then dump. I just don't know. I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate you watching. BC backers got some good perspectives. I don't know what the context is though with that. Possible retrace, then dump. Possible retrace. I really don't know. I'm thinking it might have something to do with, I could be way off if you're looking at something like Bitcoin. Because one thing I have seen, I don't think it was so much, maybe it was one of his videos, I don't know, but I think I saw another person talking about a retrace on Bitcoin. Like, I can use my own like Fibonacci, you know, if I want to talk about a retrace right now on Bitcoin, 618 to 786 lower high, like 115 to 108. I'd be looking for a potential retrace. I mean, if we're getting any type of move to the upside, this is actually the area to watch. But that range, 20-week moving average, confluent with the 618 at 109, 108. So retrace to this area, as well as a 50-week at 102. So I don't know. Is he talking about some type of retrace there? Lower high and then boom, down? I'm not sure. I'll try and check to see if that's what he's talking about. I do want to speak to that though, actually. Kind of happy you asked that, even if that's not anything of what he's talking about, if that's not what BC Backer's talking about. But like, this scenario right here is interesting to me. That picture, besides looking like a little stick man, that picture is the picture of a typical bear market starting, right? Boom, retrace, boom. But I cannot get on board with that. It could happen. I can't get on board with that. QT started right here, right? Let me even bring up, look at the PMI. Look at the PMI on this Bitcoin chart. Look at that. Did Bitcoin get rejected and fall into a bear market just because of 4-year cycle theory and because of Bitcoin 4-year halvings? Or did it get rejected because PMI and quantitative tightening and liquidity started contracting and falling? I'm very much on board with the thought that it's because of all of that, the liquidity cycle. And so I have trouble with this because quantitative tightening literally just ended today. So we're not going into QT, especially not to mention SEC trying to destroy crypto, FTX collapsing, Celsius collapsing, all of this. Right now, my headlines I'm covering in this video are the exact opposite of the spectrum. We have market structure, we have Clarity Act, we have all these ETFs on board, institutions buying from retail as they capitulate. Like, we're in a different season. We're in a whole different ballgame. So I have trouble getting on board. I will say this though, we could see Bitcoin make a move to this area and get rejected and bounce around and go crazy. I don't know what it would do while we're waiting for expansion of the PMI, right? But I just don't think it's going to be one of these. You know what I mean? I just don't. And I say all the time, I could be wrong, okay? And if I am wrong and this happens, I'll have to do videos and just probably constantly be like, man, I was wrong about that. Let's see what happens next. I don't know. But like, I'm at least saying, I'm trying to explain to you why I don't think that's the case. I did do a video yesterday discussing the bear cases, right? There are things that could fall apart with the thesis in terms of my liquidity thesis and what the Fed is doing. So those things I'm going to monitor, right? If what's happening right now, if something changes bearishly, I will absolutely bring it up because then I guess the case is there. But right now, if we're basing it just on like moving averages and maybe the Bitcoin 4-year cycle, I'm not on board with that. So again, PMI falls, QT starts, Bitcoin fell, crypto fell. Right now, QT is ending. If PMI starts expanding, I just don't think we're going to fall into this bear market. That's just my opinion. I think it's a fair like viewpoint. It's not a guaranteed thing, but I think it's fair. Dude, Thai food. Chill out. Chill out, dude. I'm not holding my money here to watch these influencers keep spreading FOMO, fear of missing out. Dude, if anybody out there needs to sell and doesn't want to be in these markets, it's completely okay. I'm not here telling anybody to buy. I am not telling anybody, buy this dip. You all know I don't do that. I'm presenting you my bull thesis. I'm tracking these markets with y'all. Just chill out, Thai food. Chill out. I don't know, man. I say that all the time too. I don't know. I have my ideas. I try and present them. I have fun trying to present them to you, but I don't know. Nobody does. Literally, nobody knows. Michael Saylor doesn't even know. And he's like the biggest Bitcoin bull. My risky move is Snek. Same feeling as you, Dan. The best decision or the worst. We got Snek back there. We threw that puppy up there in the early days. Snek finally cooled down a little bit. It was kind of hovering up there. Snek at a 20. Again, not a lot of data on Snek, but sitting at a 20, not bad. The lowest our risk model for Snek ever went was actually back here in October 2023, 17, it looks like. Historically, at 20, price was higher 73% of the time after 3 months, 100% of the time after 1 year. That's a nice. Again, this isn't meant to be predictive. This is meant to really give you insight into risk and how high or low risk is. Best time to buy, best time to sell. So that's the risk model for Snek. I get it too. I can see how Snek in the altcoin sector, definitely, I can see how it's like a high risk play. Why doesn't the same emotion apply with stocks? So, what is this? I'm getting this spam comment. Remove, ban. Sorry, everybody. Where'd that question go? Why doesn't the same emotion apply with stocks? So I don't really know. I think you're asking why everything that I'm talking about. Are you asking like my thesis about liquidity? And by the way, there's a PMI chart on the quantitative tightening chart. Very interesting. But are you talking about my thesis for a bull market? Why does it not apply for stocks? Like, why is the stock market still going up? Why is the S&P up? Is that what you're talking about? And if it is, like, I think at the intro, I talked about the Mag 7 a little bit. I think I did. Maybe that was on a space earlier today. But, like, that is not, like, the risk sector that we want to look at when it comes to liquidity, right? They're in a league of their own. But that's why this is also exactly why I did the video on the Russell 2000 like a week or two ago. Because the Russell 2000 now we're getting like a reflection of economic activity, right? You can't look at Google and be like, man, Google is just Amazon, Apple, they've been doing well, stocks are doing well. That's just a reflection of business activity, economic activity. But now you get into Russell 2000 and the companies that make that up, now we have a reflection of real economic factors and economic activity. And that's why the Russell 2000 moves so well with the PMI, the business cycle chart. And so that's why Russell 2000 is something I'm watching very heavily right now, because if you look at it, pretty crazy, isn't it? What's it doing? It's testing last cycle's all-time high. That could look bullish to some, but that's not that bullish. What's bullish is something like this, breaking through all-time high resistance that it was at, right? That's the bullish move. And that move happens with PMI expansion. Check it out. Can even go back here. PMI expansion. What's happening? And by the way, now I'm back here in like 2015, 2016. Boom, there's resistance. PMI expansion. Boom. There's the exciting move. So Russell 2000 has not illustrated that the business activity has woken up yet. And that's why watching something like Russell 2000 is way more, like if you're on board with the thesis of liquidity and everything that I've been talking about, Russell 2000 is way better chart to look at than the S&P 500. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's how I'm looking at it. So with that being said, I'm very interested to see what the Russell 2000 does next. It's crazy. Because are we going to get expansion? And actually, speaking of that, let's go look at, I was going to end this live stream, but now I keep getting pulled in. I'm just very curious. September 2019, boom. This is right when QT ended. PMI retraces a little bit. There's that pop. Crypto did this, if you remember. Well, actually, did it start in December? Right? Kind of curious now. Hold on a second. Let's look at excluding Bitcoin. How about that? I'm really curious about this. So QT ended last cycle, September 2019. Boom. So the move started in December. Then if you go back to the Russell 2000, let me change this to a weekly. It's messy. Zoom in. This bounce. Russell 2000 actually started breaking out like right after QT ended. So that's actually kind of cool. I mean, listen, this was the first time in history QT ended. So we can't just, we can't keep going back and looking, hey, how many times did it happen like this? But that's actually kind of cool because Russell 2000 started moving right after QT ended. And then shortly thereafter, crypto started moving in December. So now I'm curious to see, and notice how it even started moving while there was a bit of contraction on the PMI. Check it. PMI still contracted after QT ended a little bit. Russell 2000 was still like boom. Notice though it was hitting this resistance from the swing high back here and then COVID hit. But now I'm kind of curious. Do we see the Russell 2000 as another leading indicator this cycle post QT ending? If this could be a very nice first sign. I don't know. Watching out, I'm doing the video, just boom, it'll fall. But it would be cool if Russell 2000 actually started making a move to the upside. That could be a nice early indicator, but there's just not a lot of data to like really get on board with that. We got a lot of spam. All right, everybody. I appreciate you hanging out with me. I really do. It's been fun. It's been real. It's refreshing. I've been doing these edited videos. I sit here for hours doing those things, and now it's just nice just to kind of do a regular video. So thanks for hanging out. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. Subscribe. I'll say it even right now. We're just getting started. We really are. I really think there's so much in store for the crypto space. I really just do. I'm very excited that QT ended today. It's not an immediate thing. We're going to see a pump, but I'll be releasing a video soon about the 4 phases of liquidity, so we can get a sense of, well, when is crypto really going to feel it? When is it going to feel it? And hopefully that will be some helpful data to you as well. But I appreciate you. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. If you're not in our intelligence system, get back there, try it out. We have a bunch of assets. Start planning your accumulation. We keep falling. We're going to get into crazy bear market risk scores. And then also start planning your exits. And everybody, I want to give a shout out to itrustcapital once again for sponsoring the video. $100 funding bonus. If you click the link below, get set up with them. Just an awesome company, awesome team. And if you're a macro investor, it's definitely a product worth getting set up with. So appreciate each and every one of you. I will see you all in the next video. God bless.